fun stuff. Lacey hasn't seen this yet, but we got to do this. So Taylor Swift, I don't know if you guys know. I had to look all this up. I'm not a huge Swiftie, but she's dating the tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're in the Super Bowl coming up. This is their fourth Super Bowl in a row. His name is Travis Kelce, I think. And anyway, she came out for Biden. And a couple of years ago, she came out in Tennessee for the Democrat to run, and that person, I think, won by a lot. But she pulled in a lot of the youth vote because she's so popular. And you would think, okay, Taylor Swift, she's a young woman, she's for women's rights, that's her big platform, so she supports the Democrats because the Republicans are very anti-women rights. That's just how it is. And you would think that's all there is to it. She's dating a football athlete, she's a pop star, makes tons of money, and she just happens to be a liberal Democrat, which is pretty normal for most celebrities. Right? Most artists tend to be
especially young female artists, celebrities. Like if you're that combination, not to hit stereotypes, but if you're that combination, it becomes pretty common. Yeah.
Right. Well, most artists tend to be liberal because most art is fairly liberal. I mean, conservative art is really just decoration, right? It's not really an art form. I'm not going to write a play about how everything's great and should stay how it is. Right? It's a pretty boring story.
You don't frame the birthday wrapping paper.
Right. Yeah.
Hang it on your wall.
Nope, I don't do that. Don't do that at all. But anyway, you would think that's all there is. You would think that's all there is to it, but you were so wrong. The conservatives have a whole new theory about why Taylor Swift is endorsing Joe Biden. It's amazing. This is the culmination of that theory. They've been running this on Fox News, but this is OAN. We're going to watch the Majority Report covering this because I couldn't find this clip on OAN. But oh my God, we had no idea. It's so much deeper and darker than you think it is. Are you ready, Lacey? Are you ready to go down the rabbit hole?
I am so ready.
Okay.
Is this going to make me a Swiftie? I'm not one. I don't have any thoughts about her either way, really. Am I going to become a Swiftie now?
It might make you want to kill her. You never know. This could go so many ways. So here's Sam Cedar of the Majority Report, and they're going to cover this. The dark forces.
We may wade into this burgeoning scandal that is unfolding, this sort of like rolling coup that we're seeing that involves Taylor Swift. And is it Kelce? Is he
Travis Kelce. Yeah, no,
is he a tight end for the Chiefs?
He's a tight end for the Chiefs, that's right.
Yeah. And it's pretty obvious what's happening here, which is why all of these right-wingers have signed on to it. It is incredible. Both how bat crap crazy some people are in this country, and B, how completely shameless folks like Vivek Ramaswamy and I don't know, Tim Pool and others are in promoting this theory for money. The combination of both complete shamelessness and assumption of utter stupidity and insanity on behalf of their audiences is fascinating to me. It really is. It's like when you see these people talk about it, well, we'll get into it later, but when you see these people talk about it, what you're seeing is like you're seeing the reflection in a mirror, or like you're seeing like a shadow, and the thing that's the initial object that's creating that reflection, or that initial object that is creating that shadow, just may be so disturbing.
I remember we were talking about with Rogan when Matt was like, sometimes it's as if Rogan is just getting stoned and having a panic attack and we're just hearing it. It feels a lot like that. Like these guys are so perturbed by the relationship that they are just literally having a meltdown psychiatrically in regards to it, and how they're basically processing how much they can't stand this celebrity couple.
It's unbelievable. I know why they do this, but it's just.
Hang on, let me skip ahead here to the clip. He's got a lot of monologue there. All right, here we go. Here it is.
first one, that's the most famous and the most common, is working with famous people or main influencers to share information or a particular message. So I include Taylor Swift in here. Well, what you just watched there was the incredible moment that a rep from the Pentagon's Psychological Operations Research firm pitched NATO's military Psy-OP center on turning Taylor Swift into an asset back in 2019. Now, we've talked about this on the show before, but now we have to talk about it again. Because a new poll conducted by Redfield and Wilton Strategies found that 18% of voters say they're significantly more likely to vote for a candidate endorsed by Taylor Swift. It's reported the 2024 presidential election will see 8 million new voters in the U.S. electorate and a total of 41 million Gen Z voters, many of whom are obviously influenced by celebrities and social media. And seeing as T Swift has a whopping 94.9 million followers on X alone, compared to Trump's inactive account with 87 million, and Biden's POTUS account with a measly 33 million, half of which are probably bots, let's be honest, I'd say, yeah, that's probably reason for concern. Especially when you take into account the fact that George Soros and the Carlyle Group own Taylor Swift and her music.
After I was denied the chance to purchase my music outright, my entire catalog was sold to Scooter Braun's Ithaca Holdings in a deal that I'm told was funded by the Soros family, 23 Capital, and the Carlyle Group.
All right. So are you with it so far? So Biden and the Democrats, 2019, using the Pentagon, decided they were going to recruit Taylor Swift as a psychological operation to manipulate the election. And since 18% of voters vote with whoever she endorses, she could swing the election. And she's working with George Soros, the Jews. That's their code word for the Jews, because George Soros is a Jew who was in the camps in World War II. George Soros bought all of her music and he owns it. And she's pissed about it. So she's technically owned by George Soros and wants to make him happy. It doesn't make sense, except for you have to open your mind. All right, sheeple, open your mind. Okay. And if you think this is a joke, you're already part of the deep state and you're too far gone.
So it's either that or
she's a Democrat.
She's a female artist. The crossover is frequently liberal.
Democrat.
Most times liberal Democrat.
Yeah.
So or it's that.
Or
it's this whole conspiracy theory. So yeah, it's one of those.
Well, this is deeper, man. You need to listen. You're not connecting the dots, Lacey. You're not just. You got to take the journey.
I've never been a very good sheeple.
You're a terrible sheeple. You're not connecting the dots. You don't know what's going on, Lacey. It's so much darker. So much darker. We're gonna get more. Allison here is gonna explain.
It perpetuates all the mainstream liberal talking points. She's very pro-LGBT. She supports abortion. Oh, wow. She condemned white supremacy during the BLM riots of 2020. She despises Trump. And now look, the mainstream media is massively pushing the pop star to...
What was that? Did you say something?
Like, why on Biden's Green Earth are we putting white supremacy in quotes? Like it's not real or something.
It's not real, Lacey. It's not real. It's made up by the Pentagon and Joe Biden and George Soros and the Jewish elite. They meet in a secret they meet in a secret facility in Colorado once a year called the Meadows. They're also part of the lesbian dentist cartel. You know about them. Put a chip in your tooth while you're sleeping just to bill you more. You don't even know. This is so deep, Lacey.
Oh man.
So deep. This is so deep.
Continue furthering their agenda.
What? What was that?
I said, woo, here we go.
Here we go.
She suddenly becomes political, and now she's plastered all over magazines, airports, the NFL, and now even the Super Bowl.
It's just 24/7
Sorry.
nauseating.
I have to.
So now the Super Bowl's involved, Lace, because she's dating a guy who's going to be playing in the Super Bowl. Do you see how deep this goes? It's so deep, Lace. So deep. We're gonna get down to it. We're gonna get into it. It's so dark.
We're supposed to pretend we don't see the Psy-OP? Look, we all know what's happening with Taylor Swift is not organic and it's not natural. It's a coordinated marketing campaign by Democrats to leverage celebrities to excite their base into coming out and voting. They know Joe Biden is incapable of doing that.
Oh my God. A politician trying to get their base to vote? Oh, how awful.
So instead, they have to use their Hollywood puppets to propagate a narrative that'll influence the absent-minded masses. I mean, come on. They did it once before. Why not do it again? And this time, go really hard and double down all the way. Isn't it interesting? She just so happens to be dating Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce, better known as Mr. Pfizer. Oh, who's now also...
Okay, so they call him... The reason she calls him Mr. Pfizer is because during the pandemic, Travis Kelce did an advertisement for Pfizer to try to get people to get the vaccine. So he's Mr. Pfizer because he's pro-vax. Oh, no. So it's pro... But remember, the vaccines, they put tracers in them so they can track us. Because, you know, they can't track us with, I don't know, our cell phones.
Like, we put leashes on ourselves. We literally have the trackers literally attached to ourselves.
Oh my God. So now, okay, wait. Okay, Taylor Swift, the Pentagon, Joe Biden, the Democratic Party, George Soros, the Jews, right? Now, the NFL and Pfizer. Are you seeing it? Are you seeing all the connections here? All of it. Big conspiracy. It's not that she's not dating him because he's an athlete and he's got a great body. And she probably likes him. No. It's part of this. This is the Pentagon strategy, Lacey. You don't even know how deep this goes. The Pentagon and the Jewish elite.
Wow.
Oh, sorry.
Let's skip ahead in this. Sorry.
Okay.
Who's now also going to the Super Bowl, which is sponsored by, you guessed it, Pfizer.
What a coincidence.
Oh, see? Pfizer's also doing the Super Bowl. Do you see it now? Do you see the connection? Is your mind open?
I see they've been doing too much of something and I can't even tell you what it might be.
I know. Where did they got the good stuff. I have never been that high in my life.
Ever. And I thought liberals were way more likely to have the good stuff.
Oh man. We can get more. She brings in that Taylor Swift has sold her soul to the devil and all this shit too. So Satan's involved now. I mean, everybody's fucking involved. But what it really comes down to is Taylor Swift is, you know, she's a pop star. She's really famous. And she wanted to voice politically things that are bothering her. And so she endorsed certain candidates. But it can't be because that's what she endorses. It has to be a conspiracy theory.
Because Taylor Swift couldn't possibly just think for herself and have her own political leaning and then just happen to also have a pretty big following. She couldn't possibly just on her own have opinions and say them. It could only be because she's owned by and put up to something. I mean, you know what? This is a conspiracy theory definitely for the conservatives, if you think about it, because they can't even just credit her with thinking for herself.
Well, you want to know what's really funny about this is I don't pay attention to a lot of pop music. I listen to a lot of like rock and indie shit. But I actually, when they saw the picture, I'm like, oh yeah, that's Taylor Swift. I was thinking of Miley Cyrus the whole time. Mm-hmm. They're both blonde pop stars. I mean, at my age, they're interchangeable. I mean, they're basically just Madonna clones at this point to me. I mean,
Madonna's not even a Madonna clone anymore.
Madonna, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Taylor Swift, Miley Cyrus. It's all the it's all the same thing recycled in my mind. Oh man! But anyway, I had to cover that because that's just incredible. But the right wing, they always go after women. They love going after women, but especially white women that don't agree with them. That pisses them off, man. They go fucking nuts when a white woman doesn't agree with them. I don't know why. Maybe it's some sexist, racist thing, but Jesus.
I do think it falls somewhere loosely into the sexist, racist. This is what your role is supposed to be in society, sort of bullshit. Yeah.
It's crazy stuff. Well, I wanted to cover one last thing.